Hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. This is a quick presentation. I thought I'd rather do a presentation than a video because you're probably bored of seeing my face, and I thought this would be a more interesting way of creating something for you. So today we're going to be looking at something incredible. This is something that I said I'd do a while ago, so it's been a long time coming. I've been working on it for a while, so it's as good as it possibly can be, and it can be comprehensive but short enough at the same time. So I try to get a real balance between something that's quick and nice to watch but also informative as well. So it was something I promised a long time ago. I think it's about a month ago now that I said I'd do this, and I've kind of been distracted by other things, and for that I'm sorry. But here it is now, and I hope you're watching it and you'll enjoy it. And thanks to the power of the internet, it's going to be available to everybody. Every kind of media or medium will be able to watch this. So what is this? Well, I am very happy to announce that we are going to be reviewing at last the Recesky TLR. So I said I'd do this review a while ago, and I've just never got around to it. So this is something I put together yesterday, and I'm doing it now for you. So let's have a look at this little camera. There we are, you can see it there. So as you can see by the photograph, it is a TLR camera, which stands for twin lens reflex, as opposed to single lens reflex, which is an SLR. The twin lens reflex means that it has twin lenses, and it's a reflex camera, so it's got a mirror in it. So you look down through that top box, through the top lens, that's what you're seeing, and that's what you use to focus, and the bottom lens will take a photo. As I mentioned before, it is a camera that you build yourself. Some people might be a little bit daunted by the fact that, oh crap, I've got to build my own camera and I've got to do the shutter and everything and make sure the lenses don't get scratched or something. Don't worry, it's quite easy to build, it's a lot of fun to build, and because you built it you feel like it is truly your camera. It has two plastic lenses, which we'll come on to in a second. I don't know whether you can see this because there's obviously nothing really to scale. Those could be giant cameras for you know. So I thought I'd mention that it does take the very popular, very easy to get, very cheap to develop 35mm film. It has an uncoupled shutter release, which we'll come on to again in a second. And because it's made of plastic and because the lenses are plastic, it is extremely lightweight. So let's have a look at the pros of this little camera. As I mentioned a second ago, it has an uncoupled shutter release. This means that the shutter button and the wind-on system are completely separate. So on an SLR, on a film SLR anyway, you can't wind on the film until you've taken a photo, and you can't take a photo until you've wind on the film. So that's a coupled shutter release. Uncoupled means that you can just continue opening and closing the shutter for as much as you like, which makes multiple exposures really, really easy to do. As I mentioned, it also has plastic lenses. Now those of you who have seen a Photoshop tutorial will know what kind of effect the plastic lens gives you, but if you haven't seen that, I'll just show you here. This is a photograph I took in China with this camera. So as you can see, you've got the really nice blurred edges, really nice saturation in there, really good contrast and colours, it's really rich, and it does make for really interesting photos. Again, it's a build-yourself camera, so again you really do feel like you own this thing, it's your camera, you built it. Another good thing about the camera, the instructions, although in Mandarin, are really, really, really clear. They're sometimes too clear and easy to follow at some time. There are English and translations available on the internet and walkthroughs, so you can do this whilst you are building. But you shouldn't really need that unless you're absolutely stumped. So yes, the instructions are really, really, really good. You won't be able to read what they're telling you to do, but the diagrams are very clear. It's the complete opposite to how IKEA work. So let's have a look at the cons. If there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons. First off, it's very fragile. I was going to wipe some dust off the top lens and ended up poking it out. So it can be a bit fragile. The film counter at times can be problematic. Let's have a look at it. That's the film counter. So the idea is when you wind on the film takes up in sprockets, which turns the dial in between the two arrows, so you know when you're at the next film. My friend's camera does do this, however mine doesn't, so it looks like it varies again, from camera to camera. However, if you find that you've bought one of these and the film counter isn't turning, if you turn the dial one complete turn, that's sufficient enough to wind the film on. Finally, on cons, focusing. I can only think of 3, that's how hard pressed for cons I was. Focusing is a little bit tricky. With my other TLR camera, which is a Lubertal 2, looking down the top pane there is a little blob in the middle of the screen that I can use for focusing, and a little magnifying glass flips out so I can see it a bit more clearly. So I definitely know I've got my photo in focus. This being a cheap plastic camera doesn't have that. So you've got to kind of use the whole pane and looking through a piece of plastic to determine whether your image is in focus or not. It's a bit fuzzy anyway. So focusing can be tricky, but again, that's part of its charm. And you know, if you're buying this camera, you're not going to be buying it to get crystal clean results every time. You're going to use it to experiment and try out things. So finally, just some tips and a nice photo of what the looking down the lens looks like. So shop around is my advice to you. Some places charge ridiculous amounts of money for this camera. I think Four Corner store charged about $35 for it, and that's, I think, in their sale. I think it was $60 at one point, which is a huge amount of money. I bought mine when I was in China, so I think I paid about £6 for it. That just shows you kind of the contrast in price. If you can get on the Chinese equivalent of eBay and convince them to ship to you, then my advice would be to do that. Check out Amazon, even eBay. Just shop around until you find a price that you're comfortable with paying. Set around 60 to 90 minutes of build time. Although the instructions are very clear, there are some kind of long-winded steps and it does take a bit of time to complete, and you obviously don't want to make a mistake, so you'll be reading the instructions through twice just to double check you've done everything properly and nothing has gone wrong. So set around 60 to 90 minutes of build time. Because it's made of plastic and the lenses are plastic and everything in it is plastic apart from the screws, which are metal, but there's not many of them, it is extremely lightweight, which means it's fantastic to carry around with you, which means it's great for street photography. It's also very discreet. You're not going to notice it on a long walk if you're carrying it in your bag or on your shoulder, so it's a great companion to have out and about. Because there's no shutter speed or aperture to set or anything to worry about like that, it is extremely easy to use. The only really thing that's going to come in is the ISO of your film. So just make sure you've bought the right speed film for the conditions. If it's cloudy, 400, if it's sunny, 100 to 200. So again, it's easy to use. There's nothing to worry about. Point, focus, take the photo, move on. And finally, my last point of the day. It is a fantastic camera. It is a wonderful camera. I've really enjoyed building mine and using mine, and I hope to use it more in the future. And even though that lens has popped out on the top and I don't know if it's in focus and I can't see what I'm looking at, it's not going to stop me from using it. That's not going to make it redundant to the cupboard. Each of these cameras is going to be a little bit individual and a little bit different, and that's part of their charm, and that's why I like them. And I'm going to get results that other people won't, and other people are going to get results that I won't. So it's always about experimentation. So that's it. I hope this has been useful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please subscribe to this channel if you're interested in photography and learning about things photography related. We also have a Facebook and Twitter page. Just search for Josh Lewis Photog, all one word. You'll find us on there. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great and pleasant day.